Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about life and primarily getting through hard times. I I spent a lot of time as a young person thinking about what I could do to get ahead. I knew that my family was poor, though when I was real young, I didn't I wasn't bothered by it, surprisingly. Um, you know, I think I don't know how we eventually at school, our peers, maybe getting made fun of. Though I don't really recall being made fun of so much because I was poor. I just remember the feelings of inferiority when I didn't have, the nice shoes or the nice clothes. My parents having a, shitty car. Shame settled in eventually at some point, and I don't really know an exact point, but I knew then that at a young age that I was going to do all I could do to not be poor when I was older. And when I was young, I always said I was going to be a doctor. But, and I was a good student. I got really good grades, and I graduated in the top 20 of my class out of about 350 students in high school. But when I went to college, I just realized that, I'm way over education. That's how it was for me. I couldn't do it. I wanted to work. I wanted to go out and get started on making money. And I don't think I had a lot of advantages. I mean, obviously I'm white, Some people say that's an advantage. I guess as long as I didn't want to play basketball or professional sports, I would say it's an advantage. At least as far as where I am, has been. I think it's less of an advantage now than it has been, but certainly I'll just concede that being white was one of the advantages that I had getting started. I started working young. When I was in high school, I worked. My first job was Ponderosa, and I hated it. I had a friend of mine that worked at a carpet cleaning company, and he got me a job there, and they cleaned businesses at night. So after school, I could go and I could work for them, and I think I impressed the guy that owned the company because I wanted to work every day. I wanted to work as much as possible. And he let me. I mean, he broke child labor laws for me. I mean, I was working some nights my senior year probably till 2 in the morning, or at least not getting home till about 2 in the morning. We would clean like Arby's restaurants and banks, several commercial buildings, but it was a good job. It was enabled me to have a decent car in high school, and I developed a strong work ethic because of him, because he let me. I think I always wanted so much, and my desire was so high that I was willing to do whatever it took. And I believe that, just working a lot when you're young is how you can bring attention to yourself. Like, for example, if my friend would not have been able to get me out of Ponderosa, I probably would have picked up every shift I probably could have gotten. I think that would have been brought to the attention of managers, and eventually they would have probably asked me to be an assistant manager, and eventually a manager. That's just assuming I just stayed at Ponderosa. And then probably, one day some guy from a steakhouse would come into Ponderosa and see me and working hard, and maybe say, hey, you want a better job, and maybe offer me to come to his restaurant and work. And then one day maybe I was at the steakhouse working, and somebody from a real estate company might come and say, hey, I think you'd do good in sales, and eventually I would get into that and start working hard, and you just never know where life will take you. So, but I do believe like the number one trait, the number one thing you can do is just work. And this is assuming that um, you're just doing it the typical way, which is just getting a job and trying everything you can to get ahead. That's what you would start with, is just hard work, working as much as possible. Pick up every available shift you can, because very few people will do that, and it's easy to set yourself apart by doing that. Everybody else can't wait for their shift to end and get home. And yeah, I wanted to be home too, but I wanted to work, because I knew that was the only way I could make money and get ahead. And it was so hard early on. I mean, so hard. I eventually got myself to a point that, when I quit college, I came back and worked for the guy cleaning carpet. And again, I worked like crazy. We got an account with United Technologies carrier. And when I worked for the carpet cleaning company, they were actually, they had branched out into janitorial work. So I was the leader of the crew at United Technologies. And a couple of the guys that worked there, I knew them just because, if there were problems, I was the leader of the crew. I was the guy that they would tell, hey, you guys missed this last night, or, we need you to do this this weekend special because we've got people coming in, or whatever it was. But I got to know some people there, and a couple of the guys really strongly encouraged me to apply to work there. It was better pay. It was a union job. It was, a lot better as far as, pay right then and there, hourly pay versus what I was making. Benefits were better. And so I did. I left the carpet cleaning company and I started to work for United Technologies carrier. And we made furnaces and air conditioners, and it was factory job, and it was everything was the same every day. And eventually I just really realized that it wasn't for me. I mean, I knew that though I could pick up more shifts, I mean, it was such a big place, and it was just hard to, I was just a factory worker. And though I thought, okay, well, I can move up to a better position on the line that isn't as hard, or maybe become like a line supervisor. But as I thought through my career there, what would I eventually be and how far I could go, I really just didn't feel like it was in me, that work didn't motivate me. It wasn't, it wasn't satisfying for me. Working an 8-hour shift felt like 3 days. I mean, it just was like, I was so monotonous, and I just, though I was appreciative for the job and I was making okay money, I just was trapped. Maybe I was making 12, 14 bucks an hour back then, which was decent money back then, because I'm 47, and I would have been 19, 20 years old. That's 27 years ago. Good Lord, that was decent money. And I remember one night I was just so frustrated. It was like the night was just dragging on, because I think I was working second shift then. I said to myself, I thought, a job that I wouldn't be trapped by an hourly rate would be like sales, where I could, make as much as I could possibly make on commission. The harder you work, the better, the more you sell, the more you make. You're not trapped. And that's where I felt like possibly I could do good. I felt like I was motivated enough, and I had bought things, like an electronics store. I went to car dealerships, So ultimately, I said to myself that night, I remember it vividly. I said, you know what? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to the electronics store and I'm going to see if they're hiring. And so I got off work, who knows, maybe midnight or whatever. Went home, went to bed. I got up that morning and I decided to go get a newspaper just to look at the wanted ads rather than just, the electronics store didn't open maybe till 10 or they don't open early, because they're open late. And so I went to the store and I bought a newspaper. I brought it home, and that electronics store had a help wanted ad in the newspaper. And I remember getting chills in my body thinking about it. It was a moment in time that it was life-changing. I knew I was going to get the job. And I could just see myself already working there, and it's just like my life, a little bit of my life flashed before my eyes in that moment. I went to the electronics store and I got that job. I got the damn job, and I worked there. I loved it. And initially, it just there I could pick up shifts and work more and be ready. Like a lot of guys, like maybe at stores like that, they're hanging around the back and waiting for customers to come to them. Not me. I was right there. How can I help you? What can I do for you? I wasn't pushy and trying to make people buy stuff they didn't want to buy, but I was trying hard to sell stuff. So, and I did real well. And eventually I got promoted to assistant manager. And, I worked my way up, but I got to the point there where, again, I was getting to the point where I just felt trapped. There was the corporate office of this electronics store was in another state, and there was nothing higher than being a store manager there. That was the best position you could have. Sure, I think eventually over time I could impress some executives somewhere by my store's number and kept growing the store, and eventually got put on somebody's radar. And had I stayed, I'm not saying that I couldn't have risen there, because I could have, but what happened to me was a guy came in to buy a camcorder, a video camera of all things, and of course I was waiting on him and helping him, and I learned a lot about the products I was selling, so I was very knowledgeable. He said to me, I used to sell electronics too, but he said I ended up getting in the car business and started selling cars. You ought to consider that, because you don't have to work as much because they're not open as long. You don't have to sell as many items because you make more if you sell a car than you do a video camera or a TV or a washer or dryer. So you don't have to sell as much. And he said it's pretty much the same thing. You're just helping people out. And I thought, okay, that might be something I would try. And so that's what I did. I went and I started selling cars, and I did really, really well. I ended up going to that guy's dealership, the guy that I talked to about the video camera. I went to the dealership he worked at and just got a job there. But it was in another town. It was like a 30-minute drive from where I lived, and I just felt like, I would be silly to why I was driving by dealerships to get to that dealership, driving out of town, and I thought, I might as well, once I had a little time, I think 2.5 years under my belt, I knew I was doing good, and I knew I could do it. I went to a dealership closer to home, and I spent a couple years there. I got promoted to finance manager there, but as I was a finance manager, I just kind of sat there and waited for customers. I did their paperwork, and I wanted to be a manager because I wanted to move up, because I wanted to make more money. And the finance managers definitely made more money than the salespeople, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I just felt like more of a clerical job, and I was sitting a lot, and I wasn't out on the showroom floor. I wasn't running around the lot, and I wasn't, it's like when people buy a car, the happy part is buying the car, shitty part is doing the paperwork, and I was that guy. Now I'm trying to make it as fun as possible, and I'm trying to be as good as I can possibly be, but in the end, I really wanted to be a sales manager, and that dealership that I worked at, they had a long-time sales manager that wasn't going anywhere. So, I mean, I started looking elsewhere, and I was able to find a dealership that was looking for a sales manager, and I was able to get a job as a sales manager, and that's what I did. I worked there a long time as a sales manager, and eventually got promoted to general manager, and at that point, I was making really good money. So I was uneducated. I mean, I'm breezing through my life here, but I'm just kind of trying to help you understand kind of what I did. I was making, when I left the dealership, I got to the last dealership I worked at. I worked there for 20 years. I retired on my 20-year anniversary. And I would have made probably, I retired on March 30th, and I had made $107,000 through March 30th. So I would have made $350,000 probably that year. That was last year, 2019. I would have made probably $350,000 if I'd have stayed. So that tells you the kind of money I was making. And all of this was through nothing but hard work. Only because I outworked everybody. Nobody could outwork me. Even in the end, in my 20th year, I worked every day, 6 days a week. In Indiana, car dealerships aren't allowed to be open on Sunday, so I worked 6 days a week. I never took vacations, even as the general manager, because I wanted to lead by example. I had a crew of people working for me that were hard workers, and I set the example of what to do. I walked the talk. You know, I was not the type of general manager that was do as I say, not as I do. I did the job. I worked hard as I was the hardest working person there. No one outworked me. If I just had to be the hardest worker, and that not just work the most, but I worked the most, and I felt like I did the most. I did everything I could because I just wanted out. I wanted to be able to, eventually my goals. I got so much money ultimately that I didn't really need anymore. I could have, to get more money and to be content with it, I was going to have to buy more stuff. And I wasn't the guy that wanted a jet or wanted a Ferrari. I just wanted a decent home and a decent car and enough money to live on that I can do all the things that I wanted to do. And really, that's why I decided to do ASMR, because I like it. I use it. You people out there that are doing ASMR for people, I respect it. So I thought I want to give back a little bit. I mean, I don't expect my channel to take off and get 1 million subscribers, but I hope that, people will, somebody will like my voice, and that my voice will do something for them, give them tingles or whatever that a lot of you ASMR artists out there do for me. So I guess in the end, ultimately my advice, if you want to make it in life and you don't have a college degree and you don't have a lot of things that are going for you, all you have to do is work. Just work and work like hell. Just as much as you can work, just do it. What else are you gonna do? Go home and watch TV? I mean, if you have kids and you think, well, I've got to spend time with my kids, okay. I get you got to spend time with your kids. You should. You got to be a good parent. But there is a line where you have to sit a child down. It's like my own father. My dad, that factory job, he got off at 3 o'clock, came home and just sat on his ass, and all of us kids struggled. We struggled financially. And he could have worked another job. I would have much rather my dad sat me down and said, son, I'm sorry I'm not going to see you as much here for a while because Daddy's got to take another job. We need more money. Otherwise, when you get out on your own, you're going to have to, you're going to have to suffer. Eventually somebody has to suffer. And because my dad didn't, I have to. And it's okay. I don't hate my dad for it. I wish he would have had the time I had with him was quality, but it wasn't. The TV took him away. All he wanted to do was come out and watch TV. He didn't want to really do anything. Or he wanted to do church-related stuff. But my point is that I think if your family comes first, you need to work hard to make sure that you're providing for them and that you at least give them a little bit of a benefit. I mean, I think that handing the kid too much is a problem. Part of my drive came from, my lack. And if I wasn't struggling, maybe I wouldn't have had such a strong work ethic to try real hard to get ahead in life. And I was just willing to do whatever it took. So that's really my number one piece of advice, starting there anyway for this video, is just work hard. And I'll give you some more details later in other videos about my life, some things that happened to me that, that really were just life-changing events. So I'm going to stop this one for now, but I appreciate you listening, and I'll be back soon.